The first thing is that you are unique and there's only you on the surface of the earth. You have to know that, you have to wear that, and you have to live it. The second thing is for students to try to stop comparing their inside with other people's outside. Inside of you is, in your world, mess. But you see the outside of someone wearing a suit with a nice tie, and you think, oh, he has it all together. And that is not fair to you or to them. So do not compare your inside to other people's outside.
I guess it was the fact that everyone has a backstory. You don't really think about it. I could be looking at you and talking to you, and it's like Professor Asamoah said afterwards, you're only talking to someone's outer self, not their inner self, and you don't know what that inner self is. So I think just understanding that inner self that people have kind of lets you understand them and who they are a little bit better. So I think that's probably what I'm going to take away from it, that there's so much more to people than what you see.
Yeah, so when someone asks me who I am or tell me about you, that's always the hardest thing for me to answer because it's such a basic question, but for me it's like I have to go back and think about all the things that shape who I am, what I believe in, what I do on a daily basis. And I had gone to preschool up till 11th grade, and people thought of me as some Latina girl. They didn't know I was a Muslim, they didn't know I was part, I guess, Arab, an Arab American, I should say. So, that never came up, and that wasn't a bit prevalent in front of them. So as soon as I became, I guess wearing a scarf showed people full on who I was and what I believed in and, what I did. And it was different for me because, I had gone to school so many years, people, thought of me in whatever way they thought of me, but now it was like everything about me was in front of them, and it was scary and it was hard at first, but as soon as I realized that people still respected me, people thought of that as something that was brave, even though for me it was something that I thought I should do, as I grew older and, I became an adult, I felt it wasn't as scary as people thought it was. And it was important because it brought up conversations like the one we had today. And people asked me questions. They asked me what it meant, what it symbolized. And that was so important to me because it meant that people weren't just automatically assuming something about me and just going on with their day. They were asking me, they were clarifying, and that was important.
I don't want to offend them by asking questions, but I realized it's not that. In order for us to understand, we should communicate, and they won't be offended by me asking the question if I have genuine heart to know more about them. So that was one thing that I got.
But in order to begin a dialogue with the hope of changing and providing an environment where people are comfortable about talking about things, is to do it on their terms. So you don't just sneak up on them, but you empower them and provide a judgment-free environment. Provide them with the opportunity where they can just be themselves and just share. And when it's conversational, when it's not something they have to take a test, they're a bit more honest. And I think it's more about us learning about each other so we can grow as a community instead of putting people in boxes.
It's important to ask questions, and it's important to break stereotypes because stereotypes break communication and they harm society. And I think it's important to have conversations like these every single day.
Throw out the labels, ask questions, engage people, and you will learn from them more than you ever imagined. Because as you label them without asking questions, you're missing the whole important point.